In today's practice, you'll engage the endocrine and nervous systems through rhythmic synchronisation of breath and movement. Now, through this practice, you are creating a powerful basis for balancing an overstimulated nervous system and wildly unpredictable emotions, all hallmarks of a very full festive season. With regular practice, this holistic approach makes for effective long-term emotional healing. There's no need for props or any special equipment. Just bring yourself and your enthusiasm. 4 exercises, less than 10 minutes. Let's do it. You can begin today by taking a seat on the floor with crossed legs, but if that feels a little challenging, perhaps out of reach today, you can do these exercises seated in a chair. Just make sure that you have no crossed legs, no crossed ankles, pressing the feet down into the floor. You're going to place your hands on your knees. We're going to use the hands to create a little bit of traction as we do these movements. Taking a breath in, synchronizing breath and movement. Push the chest forward, lift the chest, lift the chin, creating an arch in your lower back. As you breathe out, drop the chin to the chest, rounding the spine, dropping back in pelvis. Inhale to push forward and exhale to roll back. Moving at your own pace, moving with your breath. Your breath guides you as to how fast or how slow this movement is going to happen. There's no rush. You're going to move for around 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how you're feeling in the day. If you need to do it for longer, you can do. Bring yourself to stillness. You might choose to close your eyes or soften your gaze, sinking into the pause. The pause allows you to connect more deeply with that inner experience, noticing sensations, thoughts, shifts and changes that are taking place in your body, in your mind. Moving into the second of our practices, continuing to connect breath and movement, shifting your body to the right side and pushing the chest forward. You'll inhale as you do this. Moving to the left side and rounding the spine, you'll exhale. These movements are very similar to the ones that we've just done. We're still arching and rounding the spine, but there's an extra element, an element of this side to side shift. Imagine your torso is like a giant spoon and you're stirring something, moving around in circles. Inhale to push forward, exhale to round. Once again, moving for anything from 1 to 2 minutes. Spending around 30 seconds moving in one direction, and then you can change and move in the other. And pause, rolling in the opposite direction. Inhale as you push forward, exhale as you round. Keeping the sit bones pressed down into the floor. Not allowing your head to roll and follow the movement. We don't want the head to sort of flop around as you're moving, but rather keeping the head balanced parallel to the floor. The movement is coming from your mid-spine around about the belly button, the ribs, the shoulders, all involved. And once again, coming to pause, finding that center point where you're not leaning to one side or the other, but rather sitting up tall, relax the shoulders, let your fingers curl in towards the palms. Staying soft. Noticing thoughts, feelings, sensations, no judgment. Simply allowing them to bubble up and move on. Rocking forward. Come onto all fours, tuck your toes and press onto the balls of the feet, lifting the heels away from the floor. Take your knees wide and allow your arms to reach down in between the legs, your fingertips pressing down into the floor. You're going to keep your heels away from the floor, so keep pressing through the balls of the feet throughout this movement. Raising the hips up, pushing them high into the air, straightening the legs, and then dropping down, bend the knees. Let your hips drop down towards your heels as you bring your gaze back to eye level. Pushing the hips up, the crown of the head drops down. Coming back to balance. Take a breath in and out. In and out. Once again, moving for between 1 to 2 minutes. Moving with your breath. No rush. No force. And coming to rest. Onto the knees. Resting your hips to your heels. Taking that pause once again. Perhaps noticing your heartbeat a little different. Maybe you feel some warmth in your body. Just setting yourself, settling into the stillness. Before coming to stand. Taking your feet a little wider. Placing your hands on your hips. Beginning to circle the hips. Now, in order to circle the hips, there's 4 parts that we want to pay attention to. Nudging the hip to the right side, pushing the pelvis forward to the left side, and then all the way back. And all the way back means tucking your tailbone, sticking your butt out and arching your back. Bringing these 4 points together is what creates a circular motion. Moving slowly allows you to access all 4 of those points. With your hands on your hips, it helps to give some sensory information to keep you aware of what parts are moving. And you need to bend into the knees to do this. You might feel a little bit of movement around the ankles. And then you can start to bring the upper body into the movement. As the hips roll, you can tilt forward and back, and forward and back. Once again, keeping the head balanced on the shoulders so the head's not flopping around and following the movement, but rather staying central. 1 to 2 minutes. You'll know intuitively when you've done enough. Let's change direction. Soften your breathing. And coming to center. Let the arms drop by your sides, tucked into chest. Press down through the soles of the feet. Maybe give your toes a little wiggle. Standing up tall, feeling the space that you've created in a really short space of time. And remember, you can come back to these movements at any time you need them. Whenever the world feels overwhelming, you feel anxious, you just need to shake off some excess emotion or energy. These are the 4 movements that are going to be your new best friend.